Hi, this is Dr. Shikha Bagi, founder and managing director, Timeless Aesthetics. It all started with a lump in my breast, which I felt in December of 22, end of December. And us time pe, how you kind of don't want to accept that there is something. And I was just, fiddling around, wondering ki kuch hai bhi, or this is like a normal tissue, skin tissue that, that is there. And I kind of just ignored it for a little bit, for a couple of months. Then my kid, my eldest son, fell sick and he was hospitalized for a while. Once we got out of the hospital, that's when, I told my father, who happens to be a doctor and he owns a hospital. So once my kid was better, that's when I told my dad that, I think there's a lump in my breast, which I have been feeling for a little bit. He immediately had his surgeon check me up and the surgeon said that there is a lump. Got through my ultrasound, and ultrasound also confirmed that there was a lump, and then there was the involvement of one axillary node in my right underarm, which is a sign of cancer. But उसके बाद उन्होंने मुझे बोला FNAC कराने के लिए, which is a kind of a biopsy, not a confirmatory one, but just a regular biopsy. वो मैंने अमृतसर करवाई, but मैंने जब वो biopsy की report आई, that was actually a misleading report because that report said that it's all fine and there is nothing, it's not really cancer. Then I sat through it, and there was a lot that was going on in my personal life, and I kind of, did not give attention to all of this. It was in July when kind of things settled down for me in my personal space. Then my father started again that we need those lumps removed. And before the removal, which was supposed to be a regular surgery at the hospital, all he said was कि एक second opinion ले लेते हैं. And his onco-surgeon was coming from Delhi to Amritsar, and he wanted me to just get a checkup done. When I went to that doctor, he just checked and he was shocked, and he's like, why the hell are you sitting on this? मेरे को MRI immediately चाहिए, मुझे PET scan immediately चाहिए, मुझे cut biopsy immediately चाहिए. Well, I got a little scared at that point of time, and I was supposed to travel to Gurgaon, so we decided that we'll do the biopsy at Medanta. We got all of that fixed, and this is about on the 20th of July of 23 that I went to the hospital, and at Medanta I got my biopsy done. जिसकी report 2 दिन के बाद आ गई, and that report was a confirmatory report and said that I have cancer. Well, it took me a little while to accept that something's happened because you don't really think that this is going to happen to you. And sometimes I'm actually surprised when I get messages on Instagram, DMs, or even comments on my posts कि आप तो डॉक्टर हो, आपको कैंसर कैसे हो गया, which is like a really stupid thing कि हम डॉक्टर्स भी इंसान हैं and we go through the same kind of diseases that anybody else does. So it's all a same thing. But anyways, मुझे थोड़ा सा टाइम लगा, but I'm like a very strong believer in God. And I've always felt कि अगर उन्होंने डाला है तो अपने आप निकाल देंगे एक सिचुएशन में से. And also I've always somehow felt that these ups and downs are going to come in everybody's life. तो मेरी लाइफ के जो लोज हैं, जो डाउन्स हैं, वो जल्दी आ जाए at an age where I can mentally and physically handle all of this. So I was in a way, I was like, अच्छा आपने देना ही था, but at least you gave me something that the doctors say is 100% curable. I'm going to be perfectly fine after, about a year's treatment. And so it's okay, aap dekh lena. That's kind of my surrender to the higher power, a power that I believe in. And, I've been sticking to that faith for a while. I think that's a very strong force that makes me strong. Uske alawa, my support system around me, the people around me, they've been so amazingly loving and so amazingly supportive throughout this entire journey of mine till now with this cancer thing or even the other lows in life. का support system अच्छा है आसपास, बहुत सारी चीजें उससे आप बहुत जल्दी बाहर निकल आते हैं. That's how it's been for me. Because the day I was diagnosed or it was confirmed that it is cancer, and the first person that my dad called me up to confirm it to me because he found out the reports from Medanta. And all he said, this is another thing that I feel that I come from very, very strong genes because I have very strong parents. My mom fought through lung transplant over years through a disease that, she had no role to play in. She just got it. She went through a lung transplant, and then even her last minutes when she went off, she was still smiling. My dad's a very strong man. So I think it comes in my genes too, all of the strength. So he just called me up and he said, कोई नहीं, कैंसर है, कोई नहीं, we'll get through it. And तू तो शेर की बेटी है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, we'll get through. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, of course. And I just hung up and I just did not know how to react because that was the first moment I heard that, I have cancer. I was just waiting and I was here in Gurgaon in my office when I found out about this. And I was just waiting in my cabin and I called my partner in. I called Ashish in and I told him. He just looked at me and he knew I was waiting for my report. He just saw my face and he's like, it's positive. I said, yeah. So we both were speechless for a moment, and after that, all he said was, "Koi nahi, ye bhi nikal jayega. Hum khade hain na sare. Don't worry." So that was the second spot. Then I told my closest friends that this is what I have. Well, it's not a big deal. So the way that positivity came around me, I think that made me very strong to just be able to fight this. Then I kickstarted my chemo journeys, all of those chemos. So I was told my treatment plan involves 16 chemos, followed by a surgery, followed by a month's radiation, all supposed to be at Medanta. So next came in my kids, because it was very difficult to tell my 12-year-old and at that point of time, my 11 and 8-year-old that Mama has this. And yes, they were taken back when I broke the news to them, because the word cancer per se बहुत डर लगता है किसी को भी सुन के. तो दो छोटे बच्चों को जब आप ये चीज़ बताओगे, they kind of, my younger one probably did not understand what I'm trying to tell him, but the older one did, and he just looked at me and he just had those little tears. And then I asked him, Ranj, are you scared? He's like, yes, Mama, I'm scared. And I realized that I now need to be positive for my children, because the way I bring this around them, if I make this positive and if I show them that it is okay and I can go and fight this, it is going to give them strength to accept that, that the mom's going through all of this. So when he said that I'm scared, I saw those little tears and I'm like, what are you scared of? You think Mama's going to die? He says, yes, this is what cancer does to people. So I told him, I said, so, I explained it to him, कि हर तरह के cancers हैं, and what Mama has, by God's grace, is something which is curable, and Mama's going to be perfectly fine. So that was, I saw that little relief on his face, and then he's like, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm 100% sure. You want to speak to my doctor? I'll put you on a call with the doctor. So my kids have been fine, after that conversation. That's, I think, very, very important to condition your children a certain way. फिर कीमोस की जर्नी शुरू हुई एट वेदांता. हर किसी से सुना था कीमोस कैसी होंगी, कीमोस आर गोना बी वेरी पेनफुल पर से. सो जो कंसेप्शन थी मेरे हेड में is that the procedure is going to be very painful. So when I kickstarted that, my first chemo when they did, I was hospitalized for 2 days, जिसके अंदर फर्स्ट डे उन्होंने एक कीमो पोर्ट डाला मेरे में, बिकॉज कीमोज आर बेसिकली क्या है, आईवी ड्रग है बेसिकली, जो ड्रिप से ड्रग आपके अंदर डालते हैं. एंड व्हाट माय डॉक्टर सजेस्टेड वाज कि बार बार प्रिक करने से इट इज़ पेनफुल, हैंड में ड्रग लेना इट इज़ वेरी पेनफुल. सो नाउ द लेटेस्ट थेरेपी इज कि हम एक छोटी सी डिवाइस जिसको कीमो पोर्ट बोलते हैं, वो आपकी चेस्ट में डाल देंगे विद अ माइनर सर्जिकल प्रोसीजर, एंड इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी देयर. तो हर कीमो में उसी डिवाइस के थ्रू द ड्रग इज गोइंग टू गो इनसाइड योर बॉडी, एंड वी डोंट हैव टू prick you every time on your hand or everywhere. So we agreed to get that done, and I went through a minor surgery for the chemo port placement, जिसके लिए उन्होंने मेरे को एक दिन हॉस्पिटलाइज किया, followed by my chemo at the same time. So it wasn't really that difficult. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 4 or 5. Naturally थोड़ी सी minor surgery है तो थोड़ा discomfort तो होता है, but ऐसा कुछ और उससे ज़्यादा नहीं था, which came as a big relief to me. So chemo उस per se procedure has zero pain, if that is a mindset. क्योंकि मेरे को बहुत लोगों के DMs आएंगे पूछने के लिए that how painful was your chemo. So chemo per se, the procedure is not painful. You don't feel anything. जैसे IV चल रही है and I've been just working through those chemo, sitting on my calls and all of that. So it was not painful. Chemo का effect basically kicks in after a few days. So, and also understand that this is person to person dependent. This is body to body, dependent. किसी को immediately discomfort होता है, किसी को 2 दिन के बाद kick in करता है, कैसे भी चलता है. मेरे केस में 48 hours के बाद chemo kick in करती थी, and 48 to 72 hours उसका effect रहता था. Effect involved क्या, a lot of body pain, severe body aches. ऐसा लगता था कि पूरी ना बॉडी अंदर खिंच रही है, माउथ पूरा का पूरा अंदर खिंच रहा है. I had pain in my teeth, I had pain in my fingers, my feet. Practically the entire body would hurt. कि कहीं पे कोई हाथ भी लगाता था कि बहुत दुख रहा है and छोड़ दो. And I was on very, very strong painkillers at that point of time. And initially it came as a shock कि क्या हो गया. Then I started to see my hair fall, and I could, still get over the fact that I have cancer. And then I'm going through chemos because I wasn't giving it that much of an importance. When I started to see my hair fall, which was after my first chemo, and that somehow made me extremely negative. It was bringing a lot of depression inside of me when I saw that happening. And I had my 40th birthday, which I had planned 6 months back, that, my 40th birthday is going to be my new life, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to celebrate. And everything went for a toss since I got detected just 15 days before my birthday. So my birthday, just a few minutes before my birthday, Eve, which my friends had kept here in Gurgaon for me, just, I ran my hand up in my hair and out came a chunk of hair. And 5 minutes before that, cutting the cake, I was just standing with hair in my hand in a place, in a club, which was full of people. And I just did not know how to react because it was extremely depressive for me. And I realized, what am I going through? And this is my birthday. And, I don't want to smile because I see those hair in my hand and I had tears in my eyes. And that's when, Ashish saw this again. He was right there. And he walked up to me and he just threw those hair down. And he's like, isko importance nahi deni. This is not important. Daddy, come and cut your birthday cake. And that was, again, a very strong, positive force behind me, something very supportive. Well, went through my birthday, and the very next day, I had my chemo, went back to the hospital. And that's when my surgeon told me that, because she saw the hair falling all around, on the floor, on the bed. And she said, Shikha, this is high time. I think you should trim your hair. And that's, because for any person, losing your hair and losing a personality and all of that is something, it's not easy to lose that. So, well, that's when she told me, and I came back home and I decided that it's time for them to go, because I don't want to see that every day and then, feel bad about it. So the very next day, I went in with my support system and got everything and said a bye-bye to my hair. And that moment I decided, I don't want to wear a wig. I don't want to wear a cap. This is who I am, because wearing a wig meant that, it's, who am I fooling? Myself or people? That I have hair, which I don't have. And agar wig laga bhi liya, after the wig, at the end of the day, I need to go back to that mirror and accept myself the way I am looking right now. So that acceptance for my own self and acceptance of how I look for my children and for those immediate people who matter so much to me, that is important to me. Baki dunya doesn't. So that's where I decided I'm not going to do anything of that sort. Took me a couple of days, my kids a couple of days to kind of get adjusted to my being without hair. But they've been amazingly strong boys, and they accepted me, and they were running their hand on my head, and the elder one would just come to me every day and say, "Mom, meko lagta hai 2 baal aapke sir pe aa rahe hain." And I would just laugh कि यार Anjana, you can keep counting कितने new बाल आ गए. And then the younger one would come and say, "अरे I think मेरे को अच्छा लगता है आपके हाथ लगाना सिर के ऊपर." So that came very positive. My friend was visiting her, so my closest friend was based out at Calcutta. So her son, who just turned 1, she was visiting, and I was meeting the baby for the first time. He happens to be my godchild. And all he did was, the moment he came close to me, he just put his hand on my head and started rubbing it. And there was that giggle when I saw on his face, and that was so cute. So, well, that was a very positive, and there were things. So my support system around me was very, very positive about, even my hair going around. I think that made a lot of difference. That made it very easy for me to fight, this depression about how I look at the moment. So उसके बाद chemos शुरू हुई, chemos के side effects चलते रहे. So there were days when I was very low. My doctor had told me कि कुछ दिन होंगे that you don't even want to get out of the bed, and then some days you will be jumping around with energy. But God was so kind to me. Since the day my chemo started to today, I have not stopped working. I think that came as, again, a very big grace, because it took my head away from whatever I was going through. Because somebody like me, who's been used to working over the years, can't really sit free, because that's where, you're sitting free and your mind is just going in a negative space. That happens to me. So I was kept very busy with work, and that kept me very sane throughout this entire journey. It took a lot of effort to get up every day, get out of your bed every day, to get ready, to just push yourself, pop in those main pain medications. हाथ दुखते हैं फिर भी काम कर रहे हैं, टांगे दुख रही हैं फिर भी खड़े हुए हैं, because वो आपका टाइम निकाल देता है, और वो आपको लगता है that in spite of whatever you're going through, he still has his grace over you, that he's letting you work, and he's still giving you the energy to stand strong. So that came as a huge strength. My team around me has been so supportive, in managing things for me. I have to say, Asta who happens to be the head of operations and somebody very dear to me. The journey I've had with her through my chemos, I always have tears when I talk about it, because this one person has had that, undying support, standing with me for every single chemo, without a change in her expression, without letting me feel that, it is a burden on her. She didn't have to do it. She just did it. I don't know from what space. So this is how God has been sending me people who've just been, making me so strong. If I talk about, my partner here, Ashish has been so strong, making me stronger. The moments that, I've been giving him those calls and crying on the phone, telling him it hurts and I can't work today. All he said was, you're way stronger than this. Really, just get up and go to work. Or, you will get through this. We will get through this. My team at Amritsar, whether it was Sania or it was Harleen or every single person who has been associated with me in this fashion, has been so supportive. I've never had even 1% negativity coming from any kind of a space. Either they lost faith in me or they kind of didn't, give me a positive thing or a positive feedback to how I look. I've just seen all of them smiling at me. So, that made me way stronger. So anytime everybody tells me that you're a very strong girl, I just want them to understand that this strength comes because of this whole set of people and this huge support system that gives me undying love, undying support. My closest friends have been sitting with me throughout those nights when, the chemos would hurt, and holding my hand and not going back home till the time I didn't sleep. They literally put me to bed like a baby. And, they would not worried about what was happening to their own children or to their home. But it was I who was the most important to them, because they were my peaking chemo days. So that's gotten me through all of this. So yeah, I think it really matters about, yes, your own strength, your own frame of mind, which wants to deal with it and wants to come out stronger. But also what matters is God's grace in you and these people, this love and the support around you, to get through something like cancer. Now it's like the 16 chemos are over. Then they gave me 3 weeks of, time, and now I'm scheduled to go in for my surgery next week, which is after, say, 3 days. I will be operated on. They will be removing the lumps in my breast. They will be, thank God, by God's grace again, all of that, my tumor has downsized. So they're going to be removing that. They are going to be removing all the lymph nodes from my right arm. They're going to be doing more procedures in my right arm, so that it is, it doesn't lead me towards infections in the time to come. And during my PET scan, I also got, there's a nodule on my thyroid. So that came as another shock, because so now they're not very sure that this is a cancer of thyroid or it's not. But they plan to remove that, my left thyroid gland as well. It'll be done during the same surgery. So they're telling now my surgery time is about 6 to 7 hours, and followed by 3 to 4 days of hospitalization. So, and after that, they will, with the biopsy, know whether the thyroid is cancerous or it's not. And if it is, then we look at a second set of surgery little later. But I think I'm good. I am ready to face that. And I have an amazing set of doctors there. They've been very kind. They've been very supportive, very positive, just telling me that it's not a big deal. And, when a doctor says that, and when you trust a doctor, you know that, they are saying correct and they're not making stories around it. So we're all set to go in for the surgery, and 3 weeks of downtime. So you probably will be seeing more of me through that bed or through my forced vacation time in those 3 weeks. But yeah, this has been the journey. So a lot of questions that I again get asked are, what are the food restrictions that you have? Well, my doctors told me that you can eat everything, have your sugar, have your carbs, very important for the rest of your body. But just be careful where you're eating from. Your food has to come from trusted sources. Packaged food is good for you. But I've been eating everything that I wanted to eat throughout these 8 months. Nothing stopped me. I've gained that amazing weight because I've been super hungry throughout this chemos. For some people, it is like an appetizer depressor. For me, I had like 3 times the appetite of what I had before cancer. So every opportunity that I got, I think every 2 or 3 hours, I have been eating full meals. So yeah, courtesy that I've gained this immense amount of weight, and I don't know how I'm going to shed it post-cancer. So that was one thing. Second was about my travel restrictions or something. No, I've been traveling between Amritsar and Gurgaon since the 20th of July to date. It's every week. I have been in Gurgaon, so I've been taking those flights. I took my boys out for a vacation because I needed to spend some me time with them before I go in for surgery. So I took them lately to Dubai for a vacation, about a 5 days, where we had this beautiful time all about them. So we've done that. I've been eating out. I've been enjoying every moment of it. So, and the medicines have helped me with all of those pains. Uske alawa, there was nothing much to deal with. So I don't think, like I said, God's been kind that this is that kind of a cancer where I can still be me and I'm just being me, just without the hair me and a heavier, fatter me, which I hope to get back to in shape once all of this is over. So we have the surgery and then it's going to be followed by a month's radiation, daily 5 days of radiation every week for about 3 to 5 weeks. And hopefully after that, I shall be declared cancer free and I'll get all of these hair back. So fingers crossed, God be kind, and we'll have more of this YouTube content coming up post those days when I'm away. I'm done and over with all of that and I'm away from the hospital situation. So till then, do keep watching. Give us a lot of your love, and of course, do subscribe to this channel where we are going to be showcasing a lot about our aesthetics procedures, about my journey through cancer, about anything else that you would like us to cover, which I want you to leave in the comments right there. And we will have content coming up. So thank you so much for watching, and a big thank you to entire social media family who's just been sending me an immense amount of love, which I shall forever be grateful for. So thank you so much for watching, and this is Dr. Shikha Bagi.